Alright, so today we're going to be doing a brake job, and just wanted to show you guys how easy it was. There's not many tools you need to do a brake job. You need a jack stand, a jack. You know, those two things are probably the most expensive out of all these tools. You need a set of sockets, and that's something that every homeowner should have, is just a basic set of sockets. And then I've got some impact sockets because I got air gun, but I'm not going to use that today just because I want to show you guys how easy it is to do it all by hand. And then a big set of channel locks. Now these were fairly expensive. They were about $30, but you know, I've already done a couple brake jobs and I've already paid for them by saving the money by not going to the mechanic shop. And then what I always like to have on hand is a pair of safety gloves. I got these not too long ago and they're holding up really well. And then obviously you're going to have your brake pads. Some come with this little squealer on here, some don't, but these ones already have it attached. Some also don't have the backer attached on it yet either, but these ones already came with everything attached. So now we're going to go ahead and show you guys how easy this is. First up is finding somewhere to lift the car, and I already done a couple of these brake jobs, so I know kind of where to lift it real quick. I've got the back wheel brake already pressed down. Alright, so I got a good spot for lifting, and now the next thing I want to do before the tire comes off is I want to go ahead and start taking all the nuts off, because if you don't do it before you lift the wheel off, the wheel will just spin there. And the reason why I'm replacing these brake pads is these ones didn't give me any kind of warning, and I haven't been good about checking on them, and I heard a metal to metal sound the other day, so I wanted to go ahead and get these taken care of right away. So you just make sure you turn it the right way. And if you have a air gun, this goes a lot quicker. And you can also take the nuts off while the wheel's up in the air if you have an air gun. As you can see, that's all loosened up. Now before you get it off the ground, I want to go ahead and get my jack ready. The car does move a little bit, but that's because you're tilting it to one side. So what I'm doing now is just finding another place to put the jack. And see, there's a pretty big gap right there, so I want to go up a little bit more until I catch on the next hook, and then I'll lower it back down onto it. Alright, so it's hooked. So now what I'll do is I'll just lower the jack slowly until it rests on here, and I'll make that tight again. So I'll have 2 points that are helping support the side of the car. Alright, so there we go. I got 2 points helping support the car. So now I can take all these off. Make sure you keep all your elements together so they don't go around on a very slight hill. So they don't driveways and all that. Alright, so now you can just take your wheel off. Alright. Gonna go ahead and put the gloves on real quick. And as you can see, inside the wheel area, see I got support right here. I'm supporting it on the frame. So everything else looks fairly good. There's nothing, no leaks or anything like that. I take my rotors and go get them turned every other time. So the last time I did get them turned, so I don't need to this time. So the next up is taking the brake caliper off. Sometimes you have to take the whole entire assembly off on some of them, sometimes you don't. I'm lucky with this set that I don't have to. So I've got one bolt right here, and I've just got to loosen this up. Remember, left goes loosens, righty tighty. And I got one on the bottom as well. And if you can't ever get them loosened, try to tighten them up a little bit. It might break the seal on how they've been tightened, and then you might be able to loosen them up. So now it comes off. I'm gonna flip it over to rest on top of the actual brake, and let's look at how bad these brake pads are. Oh, there's the one that was doing it. So as you can see, this one still has a little bit of meat on it. This one does not. It was just barely starting to get into the actual brake pad. So it's a good thing that we went ahead and got these replaced. So now grab your other two and you can tell which way they got to go, because you can't put them on this side, they go backwards like that. You can go like that, but the squealer is usually supposed to be on top. So I'm just going to go on this side. There's another view on the back side. Here's where one of them was, here was the other one, and this is where the brake caliper floats back and forth right here. So make sure they don't stick. And you got a little slot where the brake tab slides into. That's for the bottom one right here. And then you've got one for the top right there. So boom, that one's in. Now we got this one. Make sure that it's going in correct. That one's in. Alright. Now, you think that you might be able to just swing this on down and be able to plop it in there. But as you can see, now that you've put a new brake pads in, it's taking up a lot more space, because these go in and out to squeeze the brake pad against the brake rotor. So what you need to do is take that pair of channel locks and an old brake pad, put it in there, and this is where it takes a little bit of muscle power. You just want to take them, and they make tools specifically for this. Like, I used to have one, but it ended up breaking on me, so I just went ahead and spent the $30-some. You go slow, but you go in there, I'll show you. Oh, so you can see how it's going in. Once it kind of goes almost all the way in, it goes in fairly easy. And then there will be a point where you can no longer squeeze it shut. So now, by using the old brake pad, you can see you haven't done any damage to the cylinders. So just inspect them, make sure nothing's wrong with them. If there's any debris in there, you might want to get those out, wipe down your brake caliper. And now you can go ahead and rotate it back down. One thing you do not want to do is ever get your brake line twisted, because it makes it feel really squishy, and you can tell a big difference when you're trying to stop. So always make sure that you untwist it correctly. So now we just got to reverse the process. Lead bolts. This one is a fairly quick brake job because it's so easy. You want to make sure you get those nice and snug. And now for the next part, just putting the wheel back on. You put these top ones on first, it works a lot better. And it's always been ingrained into my mind to always go opposite. It's the best practice, it's the best way to get it to tighten down all evenly. And even, well, just, you don't really need to do it right now, but that's the best way to get it ingrained into your mind about how you're supposed to tighten these up. So now you just take a ratchet, make sure you turn to the right. And now that you've gotten them all tightened, hand tight right here, you want to go ahead and jack your jack back up so you can get the stand out. Let the car come down slowly. Alright, and now we want to retighten these just to make sure that they're nice and snug now after you've put weight on the wheel. And they make torque wrenches and stuff like that for these, but I've never had a problem doing it just by hand. And if you ever have to replace a wheel out on the side of the highway, you're never gonna have a torque wrench. So it'll be okay. Well, I'm done with another brake job. No problems encountered at all. I got the wheels back on, the brakes are pumped back up. You can tell when you're done with the brakes and that they're good whenever you get a really firm pedal. You can tell because when you start to pump them up, it almost goes all the way to the floor, and when they're done and they're good, it's very hard. It only goes down, I don't know, maybe an inch, inch and a half maybe when you're pumping them. So I want you guys to see how easy this was. This by no means is a tutorial on how to change brakes. You guys need to take a class or something. I'm not responsible for any of that mess. If you guys want to take a class, I encourage it. This is the second easiest repair to do on a car besides an oil change, which you guys should also be doing yourselves. If you have any questions, comments, leave down in the comment section below. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next video.